Welcome to Deep Sea Crafts Day 3. I'm Miss Christy, and today we're going to do another science experiment. Today's experiment is called Shark Float. Did you know God, in His perfection and wisdom, designed every animal so creatively and perfectly? This includes sharks. Did you know sharks are considered to be fish? Can you think of any types of sharks? Maybe a hammerhead shark or a great white shark? Let's talk about how God designed sharks so that they don't sink. Sharks are buoyant, which means they don't sink even though they're really heavy. Some great white sharks weigh as much as 7,000 pounds. Oh man, that's big. That's as heavy as a limo. Can you imagine if they all just sank to the bottom and weren't able to swim easily through the ocean? Yikes. But they don't. Because even though they weigh a lot, God gave them 3 special design features to keep them afloat. First, they don't have bones. Feel your wrist. Bones are heavy. Rather than bones, God gave them cartilage, which is lighter than bone. Feel the tip of your nose. That has cartilage. Second, God gave sharks specially designed fins and tails. Fins lift the sharks like wings, while the tails push the shark through the water so that it doesn't sink. And third, God gave sharks a super special liver. Let's see how it works. For your supplies today, you have 3 different water bottles. One you already have filled with oil, and then you have 2 other water bottles that you need to fill in yourself. So this one has half amount of water, and then this one is filled up all of the way. You're also going to need some sort of bucket or container, something that you want to put these bottles can fit inside so you can see if they sink or if they float. So you want to fill the bucket then with some water, and just to make it a little bit more fun, we're going to put in just a tiny bit of food coloring. This is only if you have this at home already and you want to see some blue water. So I'm just going to throw in like 4 drops. Mix it all together. So let's start. We're gonna first grab our bottle of water that's full of water. And I drew a little shark on here. It's a little bit hard to see, but you go ahead and you draw your own shark on the bottle. This one's full of water. And then shark number 2 is the shark that's full of oil. So you go ahead and you draw on your shark on this bottle of oil as well. Let's see which of these 2 sharks is gonna sink and which one's gonna float. So here's our shark filled with water. And it went right to the bottom. But let's see what happens when we put the shark with oil in. It went right to the top. Why do you think the oil shark floats? Sharks have a very oily liver that helps them float. Their livers take up to 90% of the space in their body and can weigh as much as 1,000 pounds. In humans, the liver is the largest internal organ, but it's nowhere near as large as a shark's. Because oil is less dense than the water surrounding the shark, the oily liver helps them float. Sharks also use their oily liver to help feed them on long journeys across the ocean. Now let's check out this fish. This is your bottle of water that's half filled with water. And I drew a little fish on this guy, and you can draw on yours as well. Do you think it'll sink or do you think it'll float? Let's find out. It's floating. Instead of having an oily liver, most fish have something called a swim bladder that's filled with gas. The swim bladder is like a bubble of air that keeps the fish afloat. As you think about sharks and other fish, keep in mind that God's design for you is perfect too.
Welcome to day 3 of Deep Sea Crafts. Today we're going to be making a great white shark game. You'll be getting all the supplies you'll need to make this in your day 3 craft kit. You will also be getting a great white shark toy that can squirt water. Great white sharks are majestic creatures that our amazing creator designed for our oceans. Let's make our game. The first thing you're going to need is paper to make the fins. You're going to have 6 pieces of paper to make 3 fins. Take 2 of the triangles and we're going to be gluing the long tips together. So I'm going to be taking my glue stick and gluing just half of it together. So I'm going to be applying glue to just half of it like that. Then I'm going to be sticking the fins together and then folding down the part that is not glued together. So I'm going to be folding it like this, and then that way I'll be able to be gluing it onto my cup as a fin. Let's make our 2 other fins. After we're done gluing the fins together, it's time to add the fins onto our cup. We are going to want 1 fin on the top of the cup and then 1 on each side. Now you will see a small hole that has been punched in the cup. That's the bottom, okay? So you want that part on the bottom, and then on the top I'm gonna be gluing a fin. So I'm gonna take my fin and apply liquid glue onto the flat part so I can put that on my cup. Find that hole, put this on the top, and then press down that liquid glue. Now a little bit of extra glue might come out the edges, that's okay. This type of glue dries clear, so you don't need to worry about it. You don't want too little glue, otherwise it won't stick to the plastic. Now I'm gonna add my fin, 1 fin on this side and then another fin on the other side. All right, now I have 3 fins attached to my shark game. The next step is to add the eyes. To attach the eyes, we have some glue dots, so it feels like wax paper. You wanna take that off, and inside there's 2 little gel pieces of glue. I'm gonna stick my eyes on top of those and peel it off, and the glue will come off with it. So now I have a little gel piece of glue on the bottom of my eye. I'm gonna stick an eye on one side and then do the same thing on the other side. Stick down the eye to the dot of glue, take it off, and then put it on the side of the cup. Awesome, now I have the fins and the eyes on my shark cup. Now, the next thing I'm gonna do is add my string. So for one end of the string, we're gonna be tying it to our cup. So I'm gonna be putting it through that hole and then just tying a knot. So I'm gonna tie it once and then tie it 1 more time so that it stays in place. On the other side of the string, I'm gonna be putting my bead, and the point of this game is to try to flip the bead on the string into the mouth of the shark. It can be quite challenging to get it down, so you can make a competition out of it to see how many times you can get the bead into the mouth of the great white shark. Once I have the bead on the string, I'm going to tie a knot so that it stays in place. Once you tie the bead onto the end of the string, you're ready to glue the teeth into the mouth. I'm going to be adding a little liquid glue around the edge of the cup and then adding the teeth. Before you play your game, you're gonna want to let the glue mostly dry so that any of your shark parts don't come off. Once I put the glue on the inside of the cup, I'm gonna be carefully putting this piece of paper, that's the shark's teeth, around the inside. You want the bumpy part of the paper to be sticking out of the cup so it looks like the sharp teeth of a shark. All right, once I have all the parts of the shark glued on, I'm going to let it sit for a while so that the glue can dry. And once it's all dry, you can play your shark game and try to swing the bead into the cup.